The early morning sun pierced through the fog-shrouded skyline of San Francisco, casting a golden haze over the sleek glass facade of Green Nova Technologies. The company's sprawling campus, a hub of innovation in the heart of Silicon Valley, buzzed with the faint hum of arriving employees. In the employee parking lot, Malik Turner, a 43-year-old maintenance worker and janitor, pushed his cleaning cart toward the cafeteria. His gray uniform was faded from years of wear, and a worn baseball cap shaded his tired eyes. He moved with the quiet efficiency of someone accustomed to blending into the background. Malik paused beside his car, a 1967 Mustang that had seen better days. The silver paint was chipped and peeling, the body marked with scratches from countless commutes. It wasn't much to look at, but it was his pieced together in late-night sessions in his garage, a testament to skills he rarely spoke about. He fished the keys from his pocket, ready to head out and pick up his son before the school day began. A burst of laughter echoed from across the lot. Malik glanced up to see Chad Bellamy, the newly appointed CEO of Green Nova, stepping out of a gleaming black limousine. Flanked by a group of sharply dressed investors, Chad adjusted his tailored suit, his voice carrying on the crisp morning air. "Good God, is that hunk of junk still running?" he said, pointing directly at Malik's Mustang. The investors chuckled, one of them, a tall man in a pinstripe blazer, adding, "Who brings a relic like that to a cutting-edge tech firm? Looks like it belongs in a scrapyard." Malik felt the familiar sting, but he didn't respond. He clenched the keys tighter, his calloused hands bearing the marks of endless hours scrubbing floors and fixing leaks. This wasn't new. He'd been overlooked and dismissed for years. Once he'd been a rising star, a senior engineer at Nexus Engines, designing prototypes that could revolutionize the automotive industry. But that life shattered 5 years ago when his wife, Elena, was diagnosed with cancer. The treatments drained their savings, and after her death, Malik quit his high-profile job to raise their son, Jaden, alone. Stability mattered more than prestige now. The janitorial role at Green Nova offered flexible hours and health benefits enough to keep Jaden's asthma in check and put food on the table. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from Jaden. "Dad, don't forget the science fair today. Can't wait." Malik smiled faintly, the message a reminder of why he endured the daily grind. Jaden, with his bright eyes and insatiable curiosity, was his world. The boy dreamed of becoming an inventor just like his dad used to be. As Malik opened the car door, the security guard nodded at him from the booth. But before he could slide in, one of the facility managers approached, clipboard in hand. "Hey, Turner," the man said, glancing at the Mustang with a grimace. "Do me a favor, park this eyesore in the back lot from now on. We got VIPs today, and it doesn't exactly scream innovation, you know." Malik nodded without argument. He was used to being pushed aside, told to stay out of sight. The investors lingered nearby, still smirking at his expense. Chad Bellamy caught his eye for a moment, then turned away, dismissing him entirely. Little did they know, in just 30 seconds, the entire parking lot would fall silent, and the man they mocked would become impossible to ignore. Malik slid into the driver's seat of the Mustang, the worn leather creaking under his weight. He turned the key, and the engine rumbled to life with a deep, steady purr that belied the car's battered exterior. Just as he was about to pull out, a familiar voice called from across the lot. "Dad, wait up." Aye, Jaden Turner came bounding over from the nearby bus stop, his backpack bouncing against his small frame. At 10 years old, he had his mother's bright smile and his father's inquisitive eyes wide with excitement this morning. His sneakers slapped against the asphalt as he weaved through the parked cars, dodging a couple of early arriving employees. "Dad, are we going to the science fair yet? I can't wait to show everyone my project." Malik stepped out again, ruffling his son's hair. "Not yet, buddy. We'll head over right after I drop you at school. How was the bus ride?" Jaden grinned, adjusting his backpack. "Boring, but I was thinking about your car the whole time. It's like a secret superhero machine." He glanced at the Mustang with pride, oblivious to the group's lingering stares. The investors still milling about near the limousine turned their attention to the boy. One of them, a woman in a crisp blazer, raised an eyebrow with a polite but patronizing smile. "Is this your son?" she asked Malik, her tone laced with curiosity that bordered on amusement. "Yes, ma'am," Malik replied evenly, keeping his voice steady. He placed a protective hand on Jaden's shoulder. Jaden, undeterred by the strangers, beamed up at them. "Yeah, and my dad's the best. He built the engine in this car all by himself. It's super powerful, way better than those fancy ones you see on TV." A ripple of laughter spread through the group. Chad Bellamy chuckled, shaking his head. That's adorable, kid. Your dad must be a real wizard with tools. But his eyes flicked to Malik with a hint of mockery, as if the idea was too absurd to take seriously. Another investor, a burly man with a gold watch, joined in. Built it himself, huh, in his spare time? Between mopping floors, that's some story. The words hung in the air, dripping with condescension. Jaden's face fell slightly, but he puffed out his chest. It's true, Dad, show them. Please, just open the hood, they'll see. Malik hesitated, his jaw tightening. He wasn't one for showmanship. Years of blending into the shadows had taught him to keep his talents hidden. Exposing them now in front of these people who just ridiculed him felt like stepping into a spotlight he didn't want. But Jaden's pleading eyes, full of that unshakable faith in his father, were impossible to resist. Malik sighed softly. All right, son, just for a minute. He popped the hood, the latch clicking open with a metallic snap. The group wandered over more out of idle curiosity than genuine interest, their polished shoes crunching on the gravel. They leaned in, expecting perhaps a rusty mess or some amateur tinkering. Instead, they were met with a gleaming masterpiece. The engine block shone under the morning light, every component meticulously arranged, polished pistons, precisely routed wiring, and a hybrid system that integrated electric and combustion elements with surgical precision. It looked like it belonged in a high-tech lab, not under the hood of a beaten-up classic car. Hoses and belts were custom-fitted with no sign of wear or improvisation. The air around it hummed with latent power as if it could roar to life and outpace anything in the lot. TNC Connor Nash, the expert in mechanical engineering among the investors, froze. His face drained of color as he peered closer, adjusting his glasses. This isn't a standard engine. He pulled out his phone quickly, pulling up a digital blueprint from his files, a confidential schematic for a next-gen hybrid motor that Autocore Industries was negotiating to acquire for $2 billion. He compared the two, his eyes darting back and forth. The similarities were uncanny, the same innovative cooling system, the optimized fuel injection layout, even the proprietary valve timing. The structure, it's identical to the design Autocore is chasing, but refined, more efficient. The laughter died instantly. Chad Bellamy's smirk vanished, replaced by a slack-jawed stare. The other investors murmured in disbelief, one whispering, "How is this possible?" Malik closed the hood with a gentle thud, meeting their gazes calmly. "It's not identical," he said quietly. "I designed it." The parking lot fell into a stunned silence, the weight of his words hanging like the morning fog. No one moved, no one spoke as the realization began to sink in. The afternoon sun slanted through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Green Nova Technologies' executive boardroom, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany table. The room, usually a space for triumphant presentations and billion-dollar deals, now felt oppressively silent. Papers and laptops cluttered the surface, and the air hummed with the low whir of the projector. Chad Bellamy sat at the head of the table, his face a mask of forced composure, flanked by the investors from the morning. TNC Connor Nash stood at the front remote in hand, clicking through slides that displayed blueprints, timelines, and grainy photos pulled from old company archives. "Ladies and gentlemen," Nash began, his voice steady but laced with urgency, "what we witnessed this morning wasn't a fluke. Malik Turner isn't just a janitor. He's a former senior engineer at Nexus Engines, one of the top automotive R&D firms back in 2014. The screen flickered to a slide showing a younger Malik, clean-shaven in a crisp lab coat, standing beside a prototype engine at a tech conference. He proposed a revolutionary hybrid motor design that integrated advanced battery tech with combustion efficiency. It was ahead of its time, but Nexus rejected it. Too risky, they said. Too expensive to prototype. Chad leaned forward, his fingers drumming the table. Rejected. Why haven't we heard of this? Nash advanced to the next slide, emails from Nexus's internal records obtained through a quick database search. Because Malik didn't fight it. Shortly after the rejection, his wife Elena was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The treatments were grueling chemoradiation, endless hospital stays. Malik poured everything into her care, but she passed away within a year. Devastated, he resigned from Nexus. High-stakes engineering didn't allow for the flexibility he needed to raise his son alone. The room grew heavier, One investor shifted uncomfortably, recalling their morning laughter. Nash continued, pulling up a photo of Malik's garage snapped discreetly earlier that day via a quick online property search. It was a cramped space in an East Bay suburb lit by flickering neon bulbs, tools scattered across a workbench stained with oil and grease. By day, he mops floors and fixes leaks here at Green Nova. By night, he refines his designs in that garage. No funding, no team, just sheer determination and his engine. It's not just similar to AutoCore's $2 billion prototype, it's superior. Simulations show it could boost energy efficiency by double reducing emissions without sacrificing power. Chad's face paled as he stared at the screen. The memory of his mocking words, that hunk of junk, echoed in his mind like a bad echo. He swallowed hard. I called his work scrap, right to his face. Nash nodded solemnly. You did. And you're not alone in overlooking him. Malik could sue AutoCore for intellectual property theft. There's evidence their design borrows heavily from his original proposal. But he hasn't. Why no money for lawyers? And more importantly, no time. Every spare moment goes to Jaden, his boy. Asthma treatments, school-run science fairs. Malik chose family over fame. The board murmured in hushed tones. One executive, a woman with sharp features, leaned in. If his tech is that good, we could integrate it into our lineup, outpace AutoCore entirely. But at what cost? Another countered. We've got a deal on the table with them. Scrap it, and we risk lawsuits from our side. Chad rubbed his temples, the weight of his arrogance settling like lead in his chest. He'd built his career on spotting opportunities, yet he'd dismissed a genius mopping his floors. Nash's words lingered. Malik isn't just a maintenance guy. He's a forgotten innovator pushed to the sidelines by a system that values titles over talent. The realization hit Chad hard. His own success had blinded him to the quiet struggles of those around him. How many others had he overlooked? The discussion dragged on, tensions rising as numbers flashed on the screen, potential billions in revenue versus the ethical quagmire. Finally, Chad slammed his fist lightly on the table, silencing the room. Enough. This isn't just about profits, it's about doing right by someone we've wronged. He stood, his voice firm. I need to fix this personally. That evening, as the sun dipped below the San Francisco skyline, casting long shadows over the East Bay suburbs, Chad Bellamy navigated his luxury sedan through narrow streets lined with aging apartment buildings. The area was a far cry from Green Nova's gleaming campus-faded paint, on walls flickering streetlights casting a yellowish glow and the distant wail of a child echoing from an open window. His GPS led him to a weathered complex where the elevator in the lobby buzzed but refused to move. Chad climbed the stairs to the 5th floor, his polished shoes echoing in the dimly lit hallway. He paused before door 5B, smoothing his tie, then knocked firmly. The door creaked open, revealing Malik Turner still in his gray janitorial uniform, a faint sheen of sweat on his brow from the day's labor. His expression shifted from surprise to guarded caution. Mr. Bellamy, what are you doing here? Chad cleared his throat, glancing past Malik into the modest apartment. May I come in? I need to talk to you. It's important. Malik hesitated, his hand lingering on the doorknob. He wasn't used to visitors, especially not CEOs, showing up unannounced. But something in Chad's eyes, regret perhaps, made him step aside. All right, but keep it quiet. My son's asleep. The apartment was small, barely 800 square feet, but impeccably tidy. Framed photos of Jaden adorned the walls, the boy at a birthday party grinning with a missing tooth. Another at a school event holding a makeshift robot. The living room doubled as a dining area with a worn couch against one wall and a table cluttered with blueprints, sketches of engine components, and scattered tools. The air carried a faint scent of motor oil mixed with the warmth of a home-cooked meal lingering from dinner. In the corner, a door led to Jaden's room where soft breathing could be heard through the thin walls. Chad stood awkwardly in the center, his expensive suit out of place amid the humble surroundings. I came to apologize, he said, his voice low but sincere. This morning, in the parking lot, I was out of line, dismissing your car, your work. It was ignorant and wrong. I had no idea what you'd created. Malik crossed his arms, leaning against the kitchen counter. He studied Chad for a moment, his dark eyes unreadable. Apology accepted. But if that's all, I've got an early shift tomorrow. It's not all, Chad pressed, pulling out a chair but remaining standing when Malik didn't sit. We dug into your background today, Nexus Engines, your hybrid design. It's brilliant. AutoCore's prototype pales in comparison. You could sue them for IP theft, Malik, and win big. Malik's jaw tightened. He turned away, glancing at the blueprints on the table. Years of solitary nights poured into those pages. I've thought about it, but lawyers cost money I don't have, and time I can't spare. Jaden's asthma flares up unpredictably. Doctor visits inhaler school, but I can't risk getting tied up in court battles. Chad nodded, absorbing the weight of Malik's words. He spotted a photo on the fridge, Malik, and a woman, presumably his late wife, holding a newborn Jaden. The image softened something in him. I understand. That's why I'm here. Green Nova will cover all legal costs. We'll back you fully, top attorneys, no strings attached. And more, I want you back in engineering, as chief engineer on our mobility division. Full salary, benefits, the works. Malik let out a short, incredulous laugh. Why? Because you feel guilty. I like my life simple. No boardrooms, no politics. Chad stepped closer, his tone earnest. Not guilt. Though yes, that's part of it. It's smart business. Your engine could revolutionize our lineup, but mostly it's right. You've been overlooked too long. Let us help you fight AutoCore. For Jaden's future. The mention of his son made Malik pause. He glanced toward the bedroom door where Jaden stirred slightly in his sleep. Those sleepless nights, rushing to the ER when Jaden couldn't breathe, scraping by on janitor pay, flashed through his mind. If I agree, Malik said slowly, I have conditions. Flexible hours, no late meetings if Jaden needs me. Full creative control on projects, and a full ride scholarship for him to any engineering school when he's ready. Chad didn't hesitate. Done. All of it. And one more thing, I'll send a company-wide email tomorrow apologizing for how we've treated you. Publicly. You deserve that respect. Malik searched Chad's face, weighing the offer. Trust didn't come easy after years of being invisible. But for Jaden, for the chance to give his boy the opportunities he'd lost, he extended his hand. All right, we have a deal. They shook the grip firm, sealing a partnership that promised to upend everything. As Chad left, Malik closed the door, a flicker of hope igniting in his chest for the first time in years. 3 months later, the headlines blared across San Francisco's tech scene. From janitor to genius Malik Turner's $2.3 billion engine revolutionizes Green Nova. Tech blogs and industry magazines dissected the story. A humble maintenance worker turned chief engineer whose hybrid motor design not only outpaced AutoCore's prototype, but promised to slash emissions in electric vehicles worldwide. Lawsuits against AutoCore were underway, backed by Green Nova's legal team, and early settlements hinted at a massive payout. Malik's quiet garage invention had become the cornerstone of a multi-billion-dollar pivot for the company. At the city's annual Youth Science Fair held in a bustling convention center downtown, Jaden Turner stood on stage under bright spotlights. His model, a scaled-down version of his father's engine, gleamed on the display table, complete with LED lights simulating energy flow. Judges huddled around it, murmuring approvals. When the announcer called his name for first prize, Jaden's face lit up like the city skyline at dusk. "This is for my dad," he said into the microphone, clutching the trophy. "He taught me that even if something looks broken on the outside, it can be powerful inside." Malik watched from the back of the auditorium, his chest swelling with pride. He no longer wore the gray uniform. Instead, a simple button-down shirt and jeans suited his new role. Jaden bounded off stage and into his arms. "We did it, Dad. Your engine won." Malik hugged him tightly. "No, buddy, you won, and I'm so proud." The pinnacle came a week later at Green Nova's product launch event, held in a grand ballroom overlooking the bay. Thousands gathered, employees, investors, reporters, with screens displaying sleek animations of the new hybrid system. Chad Bellamy took the podium first, the room falling silent as he adjusted the microphone. "Today isn't just about unveiling a groundbreaking technology," he began, his voice steady. "It's about honoring a man who embodies what innovation truly means. Malik Turner joined us as a maintenance worker, fixing what was broken in our building. But he fixed something bigger, our perspective." Chad paused, scanning the audience. "I once dismissed him, called his work scrap in front of witnesses. I was wrong. Malik's design isn't just efficient, it's a testament to resilience. He built it in stolen hours after long shifts driven by love for his son and a refusal to let rejection define him. Green Nova is stronger because of him. Applause rippled through the room as Chad gestured for Malik to join him. Malik walked up, unassuming as ever, and gripped the podium. Flashbulbs popped, capturing the moment. "Thank you, Chad," he said simply. "But I'm not here for the spotlight. I've spent years in the shadows, and that's okay. It's where real work happens. To anyone who's ever been overlooked, pushed aside, or told you're not enough, your value isn't in a title or a paycheck. It's in what you create when no one's watching. It's in the quiet persistence, the late nights, the belief that one idea can change everything." He glanced at Jaden in the front row, who beamed back. "And for me, it's in being there for my son. Jaden, this is all for you." The crowd erupted in cheers, standing to applaud. Investors swarmed afterward, offering partnerships and praise, but Malik slipped away early, content with the quiet victory. Back home, the apartment felt different, now brighter, with a new workbench in the expanded garage Green Nova had helped fund as part of his package. Under warm overhead lights, Malik and Jaden tinkered with a new project, a small robot for Jaden's next fair. Tools clinked softly, laughter filling the space. "Dad, do you miss the old job?" Jaden asked, screwing in a bolt. Malik shook his head. "Not at all. This us working together, that's what matters." He ruffled Jaden's hair. "Remember, son, never let anyone dim your light. Shine anyway." As the city lights twinkled outside, Malik reflected on the journey from mockery in a parking lot to standing ovations. It wasn't about the money or the title. It was about proving that true worth lies in perseverance, in the bonds that endure. And in a world quick to judge, one man's quiet strength had reminded everyone that heroes often wear the humblest disguises.